Hey, it's Dan Boyer with Fountain Mortgage. I'm up here with BJ Ersery from RE/MAX Elite. We're coming to you live from the world headquarters of Fountain Mortgage up on the top floor. And today we're talking about what? Red Crow Brewery?
Red Crow Brewery. It is at 1062 Santa Fe Drive in Olathe, Kansas. Started with back in 2015. Misty and Chris started brewing some beers, and actually Misty's parents really liked Chris's beers, and so they opened up a place in 2015 in Spring Hill. And in 2019, they moved from Spring Hill to the location they've got currently now in Olathe. Misty and I kind of hung out, and she described a lot of the beers they've got and why they named them. All of their beers, I think all of their beers, are named after influential or special women in their lives, or influential women throughout history. And that's how they named all their beers. Like mine is the patron saint of hops, and mine's the
so it's
Hildy.
Hildy.
Okay. Hildy IPA.
So I have Mary. Mary, like something. There's something about Mary, right?
Yes.
There is something about Mary, but it's also the Mary Walker, the first
Medal of Honor
recipient in the United States way back when. So that's pretty cool. But and I've got to tell you, this is one of the better beers we've had so far, actually.
Dude, I think
this is an IPA, right?
It's a pale ale.
It's a pale ale.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've got some really good beers, and it's actually hard for me to pick which beers to bring. They've got a great facility. I would definitely. It's over on the far west side of Johnson County, so it's
a ways for me, but hey, I'd still make my way over there.
I'll make the journey.
So I think today we wanted to talk about a couple of things.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've been seeing with my customers recently is that they're a little bit concerned about getting into the market because there's multiple offer situations on houses again, which there has been really, but I
wouldn't say it's again. It's pretty much.
Well, I guess the reality is it's heating up again, and the market's getting a little hotter than it was a few months ago. And with that comes concern about pricing and paying too much for a home. So one of the things that you and I talked about is a new strategy that a lot of realtors are using that's causing that, but it's also, there's a flip side to that. So why don't you tell us about what's going on here?
It's causing buyers to believe that...
so what is the strategy? What are they doing?
The strategy of it is that, I'll just use the one for example. I just listed a house on Friday, and when I was sitting down with the sellers asked, what do you think our house is going to sell for? And I said, well, we went through the comps, and I looked, and I said, you've got everything between $225 and $235. And he said, so is that what we're going to list it at? And I said, no, we're going to list it for about $205, $210, maybe $215, but we're better if we keep it lower. And he's like, why is it better if we keep it lower? And I said, the biggest reason is, if we price it too high, it doesn't give us as much action. And so I said, if you'll look at the comps that I've brought, I said, the houses that sold for between $225 and $235 all started at $209, $215. And what that does is it brings people in.
So you're starting the home under market value to get people interested in the home, and then consequently, which they're bidding on it.
Yes.
So I guess what's the good side and the bad side of this?
Well, you've got two factors working with this, and the fact that you've got FOMO, with the fear of missing out, which is the house comes out at $209. It does a frenzy, but what it also does is we're into a situation called the scarcity paradox or whatever. And the scarcity problem is that there is not a lot of houses. And so because it's lower and you have the fear of missing out, it brings out more buyers. So when those buyers are going through the house, they're realizing there's a lot of traffic. So if you price it too high, there's not a whole lot of traffic. You're walking around looking and there's nobody there. You're not worried that somebody else is going to outbid you. So a lot of times, there's agents that'll price, and depending on your pricing brackets, but if your house is at, you're in the 200s, you're good to price it anywhere from 15, 20, 25,000 under actual value to get that frenzy.
So I guess what buyers need to know is that the realtors are starting the homes below market value.
So you're not.
So consequently, when this bidding happens and it goes up, and if let's say the home is listed for $225. And real market value on that house may be $235, $240, $250, just depending on how it's priced.
Yep.
And so it bids up, and it may go past that a little bit, but the reality is that that's going.
You're still paying.
You may be paying more than what it's listed for, but you still may be paying with what that house is truly worth.
The house, for example, for last week was, I planned on it getting, I hoped it would get somewhere between 230 to 235. It went over that, but not by much.
But even if you paid a little extra to get the house you want.
But the person who bought the house didn't overpay. When you look at what the list price was, they paid quite a bit. When you look at the actual value of what the house is going to appraise, they didn't pay that much.
So I guess the key is, you may get into a bidding war. You may pay more than what it's listed for, but if the house is listed low to begin with, and you end up paying above that, you may pay a little bit more than what it's worth. If you're a motivated buyer and you want that, that's fine. But you're not paying as much over market value as you actually think you are.
The values are skewed a little bit in that.
And I think that depends too. You need a good realtor to be able to tell you what the house is really worth. Otherwise, you could end up in a bad situation.
And that's one of the things buyers feel like, well, I'm not going to overpay for this. Sometimes you're not overpaying. You're just paying over the list price, and the list price sometimes is not.
So it's what the home's worth, not what they're asking for. That's what you really need to pay attention to, I think, is the moral of the story, right?
Well, this is going to fall on you. Okay. We obviously have had a little change in rates, and we were at 3.5 in December.
Yep.
And where are we at now?
Well, we're probably 4% or higher now on a conventional loan. So there's a lot of concern out there about interest rates right now and how much they're going up. And so we kind of thought maybe we should address that a little bit, right?
Yep.
And I guess there's not a big, shiny, good thing to say about this other than rates are going up. And just be prepared for it, right? So factor it into your budget.
We've kind of known this.
We've kind of known it was coming, and now it's here. And so unfortunately, it is here. It's finally arrived. There's some, depending on the client, depending on the structure of the loan, we're seeing rates even in the mid-4s, depending on what's going on.
I think at the end of the day, you and I were talking earlier, if you were looking at houses at 225 in December, 1st of January, you need to be mentally prepared. And this isn't a silver lining on this. This is just the fact that this just falls in the category.
If your budget was 225 then,
it is what it is.
Maybe it's a little bit less now.
This is not a warm and fuzzy, we pull you in for a hug. This is just the basic facts.
Yeah.
And if you were looking at a house for, 225 at 3.5%, if you're at 4.5 now, you will be looking at pricing at 210, 205, 210?
Yeah, and I think the thing is you've got to figure out if you can afford that additional payment, right? Which on some it could only be as little as $30, $40, $50. On some homes it could be $100 to $200 depending on the price of the home. So just make sure you prepare, make sure you put it in your budget, make sure you talk to your loan officer ahead of time to know what rates have done. Because quite honestly, most people that got pre-approved 1, 2, 3 months ago are going to be a little bit shocked if they haven't talked to their loan officer since, because rates have gone up nearly a full point just in the last couple of months.
What we need to make sure is you guys understand, if you're watching this, you need to talk to your loan officer and find out not what your rate was before, what's your rate like right now, because until you have a contract that you can hand to them, your rate is not locked in.
That's right.
So guys, if you ever have any questions about real estate, give me a call. If you have any questions about lending, give this man a call. There is no one better. Brother?
Cheers.
And cheers. Everybody else, you decide you want to try a microbrew?
This is a good one.
This is a good one.
Try them out.
See you guys.
Thanks.
Bye.